Alright guys, in today's video I'm going to talk to you guys about how I made my first $30,000 by 18 years old. This is kind of a good story and a bad story, and you'll understand that why in just a few minutes. I started working at the age of 15. This wasn't by choice. I was actually expelled from high school at 15 years old. I was a freshman in high school. I was probably 3 to 4 months away from actually passing freshman year and going to a sophomore year, and I was expelled. And so here I am, 15 years old, not in school. They wouldn't take me at the alternative school. I couldn't go to any other school in the state. And so I was kind of stuck. I couldn't go back to school for 2 years. And I didn't want to just sit around. So I ended up getting a job. And the first job that I ever had was at the Park District. And this was back in 2009. And so minimum wage in my state at that time, I think it was like $6. So at the end of each week, this wasn't a full-time job. This was like a part-time thing. At the end of each week, I think I was making like maybe $80 after taxes. And so, to me, it was a lot of money. 160 every 2 weeks. It wasn't bad for me. So I started to save this money because I really had nothing else to do. At this point, I was kicked out of school. I didn't have many friends. Nobody really talks to you after you get kicked out of school. So I didn't have many friends. So I didn't have anyone to really go out and spend money with. Plus, during the day, all the people who used to be my friends were in school. And so time went on. A year later, I was finally old enough to work at McDonald's. So I went. I remember McDonald's was actually having it was like a national hiring day. And so they had a specific time, and it was like at all McDonald's locations. And so I went to the McDonald's location that was nearest to me, and I believe it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. They were going to start taking applications. And I remember telling myself, like, I have to get this job. I need this job. And so I went there at 7 o'clock. I went a whole hour early. And what I did was I went to the cash register, and I told the person who was working, I said, "Hi, my name is Carlos Garcia, and I just want to say that, as soon as the applications start, I'm going to be sitting right here at this table. I just want to let you know that I'm here. I don't know if anyone else is here before me, but I just want to let you guys know that, I am here for that reason. I'll be sitting over there as soon as you guys start accepting the applications. I would love to be first." And so, without me knowing, the actual store manager was in the back. She saw me. She came out about 10 minutes later, and she asked me, "Hi, I overheard you talking to one of our employees, basically letting them know that you're here for, to drop off your application for National Hiring Day." And I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Okay, well, I can't do anything yet, not until 8 o'clock, but I will make a mental note that you were the first person here." I said, "Okay, great, thank you." 8 o'clock comes around. I actually get the interview in there, and I was talking to her. I said, "Hey, look, I'm waiting to get back into high school. I'm working on my high school diploma right now, and so basically, I really want this job. I really need this job. Um, I know that this job will help me in a lot of ways with customer service. It will help me getting work experience, dealing with people in real life, problem solving." And so it was a lot of things that I was being able to let the store manager know in the interview. And basically, at the end of the interview, she said, "No problem, you were here. I like that you were early. This shows me that you really want to work." And she hired me on the spot. 2 days later, I started my first shift. I absolutely hated it. McDonald's was so fast paced, it was so busy. People were yelling, people want these orders out quick, boom, boom, boom. It was greasy, it was hot, it was nasty. I hated the job. I ended up working there for 12, 14 months, somewhere around there. And within that time, I was able to put away, no, not 14 months, it was 24 months. I'm sorry, it was 2 years. In that time, I was able to put away just shy of $30,000. And the reason that I was able to do this was because at this specific location, I was working with a lot of people who I knew from school when I was going to school. And so I actually started up somewhat of a social life again, and I started to go to parties. At this point, I was not spending money, but I was going to parties at least to go out and have somewhat of a good time. And so what happened was at these parties, some of my friends would end up drinking, and they would also be scheduled on the previous day. I'm sorry, they would be scheduled on the following day for like a 7 a.m. shift. And here we are at a party at 12 o'clock at night. Again, I was only like 16, 17, so it's not the best. But here we are, at this party. They're supposed to go to work at 7 a.m. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to get up and go to work. They're going to call off. And so I saw an opportunity in this. And so when all my friends were calling off the previous day, I called up the store manager at 6:30 and said, hey, if anyone calls off today, just know that I'm always available. If anyone calls off, doesn't matter what time, morning, night shift, anyone calls off, I'm available, call me. And she did. And she called me about, 30 or 40 times that year because people were calling off. I mean, it was probably more than 40 times, but people were calling off like every day. You wouldn't believe how many unreliable people work at a McDonald's, right? So they were calling me all the time, and some days it'd be in the morning. I'd be getting home from parties too, and all of a sudden I get a call, 2 hours of sleep, and guess what? I'd be busting out an 8-hour shift at a job I hated. But because I did that, I was making so much overtime, and they never gave me a problem with it. If you're just an average employee at McDonald's and you get overtime, they usually send you home before you get overtime. But because I was really the only employee there who was actually wanting to work and picking up other people's shifts who didn't want to work, they never gave me a hard time over it. And so $30,000 seems like a lot of money, but in reality, all I did was make $15,000 one year and $15,000 the next year. I was also doing like other little side jobs for family members and stuff, so I was able to put a little bit more money away because of that. But basically, that's how I was able to save $30,000 in such a short period of time. It was very easy. One, because I was like 16 years old, I didn't really have any bills. And two, I had all the time in the world to work. I didn't have that many friends, and the ones that I did, it was pretty much the people that I worked with. And so that's when I would see them the most, and maybe a couple of times on the weekend, and that was it. Also because when they were going to parties, I knew I had to work the next day, and so I wouldn't go out. But that was one of the ways that I did that. And that's my story on how I saved the money and how I did it working at McDonald's at a young age, how I turned a bad situation of getting kicked out of high school at 15 into somewhat of a good situation by putting away what seemed at that time like a large sum of money in a very quick period of time. Well, if you guys like the content and you enjoyed my story time, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to talk with you guys. See you next time.